Hi, sixth grade. We are looking at lesson 8.4, real world problems, equations, and inequalities. And this is this starts on page 12 in your workbook. So the directions say write and solve an algebraic equation or inequality for each problem. Show your work. And just as a reminder, if it is an algebraic equation, it contains an equal sign. If it is an inequality, it contains a different relation sign, such as greater than, or less than, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So let's look at our problems. We're going to do several together, and I'll leave just a few for you to tackle on your own. Number one, when a number is doubled, the result is 48. What is the number? Okay, when you are looking at these word problems, you gotta, before you dive in, you just kind of got to think about certain things like, what is our variable? Well, our variable is a number. And when it says when a number, so let's use X. When it says when that number is doubled, what are we doing with that number? We are multiplying a number by 2. So when a number is doubled, you're taking X and multiplying it by 2. So 2 times X, or 2X. So that is doubling a number. The result is, those are keywords for equals. The result equals 48. All right, so we have written, this is an equation that represents this problem. That's the first part where it says write an algebraic equation or inequality. And then the second part says to solve it. So we solve it by doing the opposite. Instead of, we got to unmultiply X by 2. So the opposite of multiplying X by 2 is dividing X by 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. 2X divided by 2 is 1X, but remember, mathematicians just say X. And then 48 divided by 2. Well, half of 48 is 24. Okay, so our equation was 2X equals 48. Our solution is X equals 24. All right, let's look at 3. 3 says, let's see if we can, needs to catch up. There we go. In a swimming class, 2/5 of the participants are girls. There are 24 boys in the class. Find the number of participants in the class. So what is our variable? What is our unknown? Well, since it tells us to find the total number of participants, X is the total number in class, okay? The total students, okay? We know that 24 of them are boys. Now, this is interesting because they tell us the fraction of what fraction of the class are girls, but then they tell us what number are boys. So they're kind of giving us two different puzzle pieces, but they're different puzzles. So we need to, since we know there are 24 boys, we need to figure out what part of the class are 24 boys. Well, 2/5, I'm going to write this down, 2/5 of X are girls. It says right there. If 2 out of 5 are girls, what out of 5 would be boys? 3/5 of X are boys. Now, since 3/5 of X are boys, and we know that that equals 24, there are 24 boys, we can set up our equation. So 3/5 of X is like 3/5 times X. So we are going to do 3/5 X, and 3/5 of X are equal to 24. All right, and if you remember from one of our previous lessons, when we have a fractional coefficient, and that's just fancy speak for a coefficient is the number that you're multiplying the variable by. It's the number right next to the variable. When we have a fractional coefficient, we can multiply by the reciprocal. Instead of doing 3/5 times x, divide by 3/5 and divide this side by 3/5, a faster way is if we multiply it by the reciprocal. That means 5/3, and the 5's would cancel out, the 3's would cancel out, and you would have 1x. But if I multiply 3/5 x by 5/3, I have to multiply 24 by 5/3. And since 5/3 is a fraction, I'm going to write 24 in fraction form, which is 24 over 1 times 5/3. Okay, so we are multiplying both sides, keeping it fair, by the same thing. Again, the 5's would cancel out and become 1's. The 3's would cancel out and become 1's. And then you've got 1 times 1, which is 1, 1 times 1, which is 1, 1 over 1, which is 1, 1x, but mathematicians just write x. All right, so let's do some simplifying before we multiply here. Up and down, we cannot simplify. Diagonal, the 5 and 1 cannot be simplified, but the 3 and 24 can. So 3 goes into both of these numbers. It goes into 3 one time and in 24 8 times. So this would, when we multiply that across, 8 times 5 would be 40 over 1 times 1 would be 1, which is just 40. So x equals 40. So there are 40 students. Let me rewrite this because I did, and I did work over it. And our equation was 3/5 x equals 24. All right, these fractional coefficients, you are new to this, so if it's a little bit confusing, that's okay. I don't expect you to be experts yet. All right, number 4, Claire jogs around an oval track and is able to complete 1 lap in 5 minutes. If she jogs at the same pace for 42 minutes, how many laps would she be able to jog? Write an inequality to find the number of whole laps Claire completes. Okay, so we've got inequality, all right, and to find the number of whole laps Claire completes. All right, so what we are going to do is we need to set up our inequality. And again, the inequality, we're going to be using greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to on this one. We got to figure out what is our unknown. What is our unknown? And you can kind of tell by looking at the question. Find the number of whole laps she completes. So X stands for number of laps. Okay. If she jogs at the same, okay, so it tells us that she can complete 1 lap in 5 minutes. So if the number of laps is 1, that would be 5, it would take her 5 minutes to do that. If the number of laps are 2, then 2 times 5, that would be 10 minutes. If she runs 3 laps, that would be 15 minutes, etc. So we've got to figure out how many laps it takes to get to 42 minutes. So you're going to take the number of laps, and since she's able to complete 1 lap in 5 minutes, we're going to multiply the number of laps by 5. So 5x and then 42. Now, it's not equal. They said write an inequality. So if she is able to jog at the same pace, we would assume if she jogs at the same pace that it's going to be less than or equal to. She's not going to suddenly become Superwoman and go very fast. She's going to do that same pace or maybe a little less. So 5x is less than or equal to 42. So 42 minutes is how long she ran. Okay, so 5 times x, I'm going to rewrite this. This is our inequality. Now let's solve it. We need to unmultiply x by 5, and we do that by doing the opposite. The opposite of 5 times x is dividing it by 5. And then I divide this by 5. So 5x divided by 5 is just 1x. Our sign comes down, and let's divide 42 by 5. 5 goes into 42. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract, you've got 2. I'm going to just put a decimal and a 0 because we have a remainder. 5 goes into 20 4 times. So it is 8.4. Now, but the question does say, write an inequality and find the number of whole laps Claire completes. So we need to change this to, instead of 8.4, how many laps could she whole laps she could complete? Well, she has completed 8 whole laps and then some more. So x is going to be less than or equal to 8. All right, let's look at number 7 on the next page. 7 says the difference of two numbers is 117. The greater number is 4 times the other number. What is the smaller number? All right, okay, so let's examine this problem a little bit more in depth. The question says, what is the smaller number? And we have no clues about just the smaller number, so that's going to be our x. X is the smaller number. And then it says the difference of two numbers is 117. So I have two numbers. I've got the smaller number, and then it says the greater number, which means the bigger number. And they give us a clue about the greater number. It says the greater number is 4 times the other number. So it is 4 times the smaller number. If the smaller number is x, the greater number is 4x. That's the greater number or larger number. Okay, and the other clue they give us is the difference of the two numbers is 117. So what is difference? Difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So if we take our greater number and subtract our smaller number, we get 117. So let's write that. The greater number is 4x. The smaller number is x, so we subtract the smaller number, and that equals 117. So there is our basic equation that we are setting up. Now let's go ahead and solve it now. So first thing, we can combine like terms on the left side here. So 4x minus x. 4x, this is 1x, so 4x minus 1x would be 3x. So 3x is 117. Then we are going to divide both sides by 3. That's 3 times x, the opposite is divide. 3x divided by 3 is just 1x. And let's come over to the side and do 117 divided by 3. 3 does not go into 1, but it goes into 11 3 times. So I'm going to write a 3 right up there. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract. 11 minus 9 is 2. Bring down the 7 and start over again. 3 goes into 27 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 minus 27 is 0. So we have 39, no remainder. So there is our solution. What is the smaller number? That is the smaller number. Okay. We are going to look at number 8, and this will be the last one. Jason's age is 3 times Shauna's present age. In 4 years' time, the sum of their ages will be 56 years. Find their present ages. Okay. There's a lot in this problem. What do we know? We know we have 2 people, Jason and Shauna, excuse me. We are given clues about their present age, and then we're giving clues about their age in 4 years. So let's kind of organize our information. So let's look at the present age. We have Shauna and Jason. All right, present age. Jason's age is 3 times Shauna's present age. Okay, we're given a clue about Jason, but we don't know about Shauna. And since there's no clue about Shauna, but Jason's clue is in relation to Shauna's age, Shauna is our unknown. She is our X. Now, Jason's age is 3 times Shauna's present age. So what would that look like? Well, 3 times X would be 3X. All right, so this represents that first clue. Jason's age is 3 times Shauna's present age. So that's it. And then they give us a clue in 4 years. So I'm going to write in 4 years. These are classic algebraic problems. Okay, if we've got still have Shauna and Jason. If Shauna's age is X, in 4 years' time, we would have to add 4 to her age. So in 4 years, Shauna would be X plus 4. And Jason's age right now is 3X. In 4 years' time, we have to add 4 to his age. So his age in 4 years is 3X plus 4. Okay, so this is their present age. This is their age. These are their ages in 4 years. Now, the other clue says in 4 years' time, the sum of their ages would be 56. So we needed this to help us set up, but the clue is given in 4 years' time. So we are going to use these. We're going to use these expressions. And it says the sum of their ages will be 56 years. Sum means the answer to an addition problem. So when we add their ages together, it's 56. So we're going to take Shauna's age in 4 years, and that would be X plus 4. And then we're going to add Jason's age to it, plus 3X plus 4. And when you add their ages together, you get 56. Let's clean this up a little bit. Let's add like terms. Do you see what we can combine? Oops. So we have X, and then I've got this plus 3X. Remember, the sign before it goes with it. So 1X plus 3X is 4X. And then we got this plus 4 plus 4. So that's like 4 plus 4, which is plus 8. So we're adding 8, and that is 56. So here is our equation that we are setting up. And now let's solve it. I'm going to rewrite this. 4X plus 8 equals 56. This is a two-step equation. We are solving for X. I'm just going to circle this. And I want you to think of this as almost like there's a wall here. There's like a wall here. All right, a wall. And whatever we need to take steps to get X by itself. And it's hanging out with a 4, but we're going to let it hang out with a 4 for a minute. So we have this plus 8 hanging out with it. So we've got to get rid of the plus 8. Mathematically, how do you get rid of a plus 8? Well, you subtract 8. And if I subtract 8 on the left, I have to subtract 8 on the right. This cancels out, and it leaves 4X by itself. And then if we subtract 56 minus 8, we get 48. Now I am almost there. I need X by itself. It's hanging out with the times 4, so we got to do the opposite. The opposite of 4 times X is dividing by 4. So 4X divided by 4, I'm going to come over here, is X equals, and 48 divided by 4, 12. So X is 12. All right, but let's find their present ages. So again, we got to look at present ages because the question says present age. So Shauna is X years old. We found that X is 12. So Shauna is 12. Jason, go back to his present age. Jason is 3 times x. X is 12. 3 times 12 is 36. So Shauna is 12. Jason is 36. All right, that was a pretty tricky one. If you were able to follow along, well done. I would like for you to try 2, 5, and 6 on your own. Be sure to use the link to turn in your answers, and I will see you later. Have a great day, everyone.